Hello, everybody. Welcome. More with Mike here. And this is where we help real estate agents initiate, facilitate, and drive positive transformation in the real estate industry, helping raise the bar. And I am so excited today because I want to share with you just the surreal, full circle week that I had. And if you don't know, I am coached. I have a business coach, and you're like, well, why would you have a business coach? Like, what do you need a business coach for? Like, you've got to remember that Kobe had a coach, Michael Jordan had a coach, and I'm not talking about Phil Jackson. I'm talking they had a skills coach, a fundamentals coach, a coach that was helping them actually stay on top of their game, right? And the coaching industry, I actually have two coaches, just FYI. The coaching industry that the coaching organization that I am a part of is called Buffini and Company. And uh, I got into real estate July 1st, 2006. I immediately took a Buffini training course, and Brian Buffini is the head of the organization, telling this story about basically how he used to work summers for his grandfather in their family painting business, and his grandfather just had an amazing referral based painting business, right? And for me, the story about Brian and his grandfather resonated because my grandfather was in a business. He was in he had one of the original Lincoln Mercury dealerships on Brook and Broadway in Louisville, Kentucky. It was Monarch Lincoln Mercury. My dad worked there as well. This is my mom's father, though, that owned it. And he would have people, Ford would come in and look, and he would have people come from hundreds of miles to buy cars, and he knew their name and whatever else, and had just for a car dealership, which is a find them, fleece them, forget them kind of thought process, right? With most car dealerships, that's how, at least that's the perception. My grandfather actually rose above that and really invested in relationships and cared about people and generated business by referral. And I didn't really even fully understand the scope of it until Brian Buffini is sharing his story and realizing how relatable it is to our family's business. And here I am in real estate. It's like, okay, well, like I have found the guy. Like, this is the first reason. Like, I want to have a coach and I want to be a part of an organization because it helps define the system that I'm going to work. And when I found that, hey, this organization aligns with my values, I knew it was a perfect fit. I was like, this is it. This is where I need to be. All right. So I'm telling you all this because in 2011, or well, let me backtrack a little bit. I take the 2006, I take the training course, 100 Days to Greatness. If you're a brand new real estate agent, even if you're not a brand new real estate agent, you're just trying to figure out the system you want to work, highly recommend 100 Days to Greatness. And if you want to DM me or reach out somehow, I can help you with that and kind of give you an idea of how you get started with 100 Days of Greatness. But I'm sitting here too, and part of what Buffini and Company was doing at the time and is they sell coaching, right? And they also have major events. And I'm like, I'm 2006. I was like, I don't need to go to an event. I don't need a coach to tell me what to do. I was that same person. If you're looking at this right now and saying Mike's had a business coach for 19 years, and but why does he have a business coach? I was that same person who didn't think I needed that going into it. And quite honestly, I probably just would have been like, yeah, no big deal. I'm gonna blow it off. Well, sure enough, I was doing enough. I was working the system a little bit. I was probably working the system at about like 10, 15%, if I'm honest. And I was having some results. I was having good success right off the bat, but not great success. And Brian was doing a half-day workshop in Indianapolis, Indiana, and it was free. And I was like, all right, like I've got nothing going on. It's only 2 hours north of here. I can go check this out for a half day. It's free. What do I have to lose, right? So I go up there, and true to their word, like they give just incredible value in that half day. And actually, like I know that this is a philosophy of Brian Buffini's. It's like give really good high quality stuff. Because a lot of time when you go to something for free, like you're probably going to sit in a room and get sold to for 4 hours about what you need. Like, go sign up for coaching, sign up for this event, blah blah blah. But it wasn't that at all. It was like really like tactical stuff to help us with our real estate business and how we get better. And at the end, at the very end, it was like, hey, just want to let you guys know if you're interested. In a couple months, we're having this event in Chicago. It's a 2-day Turning Point retreat. Here's how much it costs, blah, blah, blah. And you can sign up today, maybe at a little bit of a discount. I can't honestly remember. But I do remember that I got so much value out of what Brian delivered in that half day that is like, I couldn't imagine what they could do in 2 days. And it just so happened that it was a perfect storm for me because it's in Chicago. It's during my dad's birthday, and my sister lived in Chicago at the time. So I knew I could give this to my dad, who was in the real estate business with me at the time. I could give this to my dad as a present, and we could go to Chicago, go to this event. He could see my sister and my brother-in-law on his birthday, and it would be fantastic. So lo and behold, do that. And again, I'm not killing it at this point, right? Like I'm making it, but I'm not killing it. There's not tons of cash available. And I was at that 2-day event and felt the energy and just saw the true community and connection of the people that were there. And I was like, I'm signing up for this thing. And I think there's some promotion. Maybe I got a month free or something like that, where I knew I had a little bit of runway before the first bill was due. But I signed up for the one-to-one coaching right then and there. I called Chrissy, had a little bit of a phone conversation, just said, hey, I'm going to do this. I think I need to do this. I'm going to do this. And haven't looked back. I think I got into coaching, and I've been with this organization whatsoever, but I also caught the bug of going to these live and in-person training events and how spectacular they are. Not only do I feel like you absorb the information on stage a little bit better and you're a little bit more honed in, you don't have as much distractions if you're doing something virtually or whatever else, but you get to just network and connect with other great people that are hearing the same things, and you get their perspective, and it's pretty incredible. And after that, I also went to that one with my dad. The next one I went to was in Richmond, Virginia. And Richmond, Virginia. So I decided I wanted to go back to another one of these conferences. Now I'm a member, and at that time that made the event free. And so I go to Richmond, Virginia. I don't know a soul in the building. Like, I don't know a person. And I got very fortunate in 2 ways. I happened to sit next to an agent out of Tampa, Florida, Gail Bernucca. And Gail and I are still friends today. Nia actually a couple years ago had a basketball game in Tampa, and Gail came to watch her play, and got to talk to actually someone who does this system at a high level. I just happened to be with someone who had been doing this for a while, been working the Buffini way, been kind of entrenched in the community, and it was really awesome for me. But then the magic for me happened at lunch. So I'm walking to lunch, and for people who don't know, I might come off as this big gregarious guy, but I don't like crowds, and I'm really kind of an introvert, and I have very limited energy. Chrissy will laugh because she'll know when we've been somewhere for 3 hours, because I start to get a little like, okay, it's time to leave. And it's like almost on the dot, I'm ready to go after 3 hours. So I see this group of guys, and they're about my age, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to lunch with you guys. I didn't ask, hey, do y'all mind if I tag along for lunch? I said, I'm going to lunch with you guys. And lo and behold, I go to lunch with these guys, and where this story's going and where it's relatable to what just happened this week is pretty remarkable. I go to lunch with these guys and just really kind of make a really strong connection. So this was probably, Richmond was 2007, if I had to guess, somewhere around that time. Maybe 2008, but I really think it was 2007. And I just got back from an in-person event, not a technical Buffini event, because it was a John Acuff event, but Brian Buffini actually made a surprise appearance there and actually gave a little session. There were several Brian Buffini members in the crowd for this John Acuff event. It was incredible. It was remarkable. It was actually the name of it, was Remarkable You. And John Acuff did a phenomenal job. But in that room with me was a guy named Carl. And Carl and I actually, Carl was one of the guys that I went to lunch with that day in Richmond, Virginia. Carl has become one of my absolute best friends in the world. He's actually getting ready to come to Louisville to spend Easter with us. He's a guy that I've traveled across the country with, shared hotel rooms with, went to baseball games with. went through tough times with. He's a member of this group of other guys. There's a group of guys here that we get together and we really try to hone each other's businesses and work together and whatever else. None of that would have been possible if it wasn't for me going to in-person events. And I got very fortunate because, from not thinking I ever needed to go to an in-person event to going over, I've been to over 60 live events with Brian Buffini. I've done a Ninja installation. I went to a Bob Berg Go Giver conference last year. I'm a huge fan of the Go Giver, and then I did this John Acuff thing. And so I do a lot of, I do multiple personal growth things a year. And because it always recalibrates me, right? Like I would actually say that the materials really, everyone's kind of saying the same things, but they're saying with a little bit of a different perspective. And it always just recalibrates me, gets me back to center so that where I need to be. So that's another advantage. You go into live events, you process, take in the information a little bit differently. You're a little more focused. The community of people, and then it gives you an opportunity to recalibrate, right? So if you step away from your business and you're able to be somewhere else where you're able to say, here's where I am. This is where maybe I've drifted or isolated myself a little bit, and this is what I got to get back to doing. Well, I was fortunate enough to be the only person from Kentucky then who was invited to Ramsey Studios yesterday. And I got to go be there when Brian Buffini was interviewed on the Dave Ramsey podcast or the Dave Ramsey show. And then, but there was a YouTube show that Ken Coleman's doing called Front Row Seat. Check it out. It's amazing. You definitely want to see this thing. It's incredible. But Brian was recorded yesterday with Ken Coleman, and I was invited to have a front row seat, to be in the audience. And I'm going to tell you why this is spectacular. In 2011, I'm at a Buffini event called the Mastermind Summit, which they don't do anymore. And Dave Ramsey is one of the speakers, along with John Gordon, another huge guy that I'm a fan of. John Gordon probably made reading fun for me again, even reading business books. And that was a huge part of it. So I was really excited to see John Gordon. And Dave Ramsey was coming out with his book, EntreLeadership. And we were at a crossroads. Like, this is where we were trying to figure out what was next in our real estate business. We had remarkable success after signing up for coaching with Buffini and Company. And we navigated that 2008 recession with tremendous growth, and actually became one of the top real estate teams, me and my dad, at Seminole at the time. Love Seminole. It's a great place. And you recently, Brad DeVries retired from Seminole, and I owe so much to that guy. He's just a phenomenal person. But we really were on the upward trajectory and wanted to decide kind of like, hey, what's next? We got to a point where we needed a little bit of a change, that maybe how amazing Seminole was at the time, it wasn't fitting our needs going forward for what we needed to do, right? And I go to this event, this Mastermind Summit, John Gordon, Dave Ramsey, Brian Buffini, and I'm basically there to make a choice. So this is my next tip. Every single time that an event has been very impactful for me, it's because I have had an intention of what I wanted to get out of the event going into the event. What was I looking to do? And that intention, number one, is a filter of how you receive the information, but it's also something that's driving the conversations that occur outside of the sessions. Because, like, no matter how introverted I am, if I'm making the investment, not only for what the conference costs, but the travel, the hotel, the time away from my business, I want to make the most of it. I'm going to coffees. I'm going to lunches. I'm meeting as many people as I can. I'm going to dinners. There's probably people watching this video who have been to a dinner with me, and we've had a great time, and we've gotten really deep, and we've talked business, and they've helped me, and maybe I've helped them. And it's one of those things where it's like, yes, like this is where the magic really happens, is even outside the session. So I've got the intention that, what are we going to do? And this event is screaming at us to start RE Solutions, to start the brokerage that we started in 2011. And honestly, Dave Ramsey helped a bunch, because I think I was probably leaning towards starting the brokerage January 1st, having having an office and hiring staff and getting all this overhead in place and whatever else. And it was like, no, you know what? We're starting October 1st. We're going to have a launch during that fourth quarter of the year. Basically, when people are home from the holidays, but there's lots of reasons to reach out to people. It's an exciting time. People are celebrating. There's family, it's friends, it's our core values, right? Family, trust, impact, joy. Like, you get those all in that quarter. You get to have the family feel because you're connecting with those people that are closest to you, with the people who trust you. I can make the biggest impact possible in that fourth quarter because it's not really about selling anything, but it's about just connecting with people. And then the joy, I mean, it's the Christmas season. This is what joy is all about. And so we launched the fourth quarter. We're operating on the house. We set milestones so that when we hit certain sales numbers and we had certain amount of reserves is when we could take the next step in getting the office building, getting the staff, bringing on agents, strategically building the business step by step and making sure that we're trying to stay in sequence as much as possible, because I tend to try to get ahead and then we get kicked backwards, right? That happens. It happens. It still happens. But then the overall framework allows us to make those mistakes and keep moving forward. So again, now I'm at Dave Ramsey Studios 14 years later with Brian Buffini as a special invited guest to watch him in Ramsey Studios. And I'm like, and my buddy Carl's with me, by the way, right? And this is the other part. This is the part that really hit me, because after we were done, there was a couple agents there that were not Buffini agents. They were Ramsey preferred agents. And you could obviously tell the ones that were Buffini agents, like we have a special bond. There's a community there. Like, where we really love being around each other. And the Brian said something during the time we were there about being championed, and it's hard when we want to champion others, but it's hard for us to champion others if we don't have anyone who's championing us. And this lady asked this question, is like, what do I do if I got no one who's championing, who's going to be my champion, who's going to champion me? And it's at that moment that I looked around the room, and I've got 4 or 5 people that are frontline champions for me. I got the other Buffini agents who are in the room that, maybe I just don't know as well, that are championing me as well. But I got really 5 people in that room that when I'm going through a tough time, I can pick up the phone and call. When I need them, I can pick up the phone and call. They would be here in a heartbeat if I need it. And that's just the little group that was in Tennessee. Like, there was only 15 of us, and I had five champions in that room, 5 people that I've helped through hard times, and 5 people that have helped me through hard times, 5 people that I could rely on. And none of that happens if it's not for that Irish guy, if it's not for Brian Buffini, and none of it happens if it's not, if I don't go to an in-person event and invest my time into developing those relationships. If I don't step past my comfort zone of being an introvert and not liking crowds and understanding that I'm there to make connections, I don't have these champions in my life. And that, again, is just the tip of the iceberg. When I think back to the number of Buffini community members that I have been in contact with, let's just say the last actual Buffini event that I was at was September of last year. Was it October? It was, we were at this leadership conference in Arizona, and so it's been 7 months. The number of people that have come to Louisville to see me, or I've been to their hometown to see them, and we've made time to make sure that we connect over the phone or whatever else, it's staggering. And I just want to let you know that, number one, we know that for you to have success in this business, you've got to invest in yourself. You've got to invest in personal growth. You will never out earn your level of of personal development, right? And Brian Buffini did a podcast with Ed Milet on the Brian Buffini show. The show's called It's a Good Life, and Ed Milet was the guest, and they get into this, right? If you don't change, Ed Milet was using a thermostat example. Like if you're not setting the thermostat higher in your life, you're always going to revert back to wherever you set the thermostat. And so you've got to work on the personal growth, and you got to work on the inputs in your life. You've got to put that stuff in. And I never really fully understood it until I really started to practice it. And I want to just thank Brian Buffini for being relatable in that 100 Days to Greatness, for being someone that I could buy into and understand what those relationships would be. And I want to thank Brian Buffini for putting together events that have given me the best friends in my life, but have also encouraged me to grow and take the next step and take calculated risk and be this remarkable person and remarkable leader that I am because of that organization. And just like, if you're considering whether or not this is something you need to do, I just encourage you to take the step and really try to uncover whether or not it's something you want to do. Because it got emotional yesterday when we were in Ramsey Studios, and I realized like how amazing the people that I'm with and surrounded by, and how amazing my real estate journey is. I joined Buffini Company as a brand new agent with zero experience. And now we have an office in Louisville. We have an office in Danville. We're trying to grow more and more and more. We're trying to create more remarkable agents. I've got all these agents that work for RE, that have their license with RE Solutions, who are in the Buffini community, who have been to Buffini events, who have Buffini coaches. We actually give our agents who have a Buffini coach, we give them a better split. We improve their split because we believe in it that much. And go to an event. Doesn't have to be a Buffini event. That's what fits me. But I will tell you, if you're trying to figure out where to go, that's a good way to go. It's a good way to start. And quite honestly, I mentioned Ed Milet earlier. And about, let's see, what's today? Today's the 17th. I believe it's on April 30th. It's 2 weeks from yesterday. You can actually tune in to a virtual Buffini event if you want to, and see Brian Buffini and Ed Milet do a special, I think it's 3 or 4 hours, 3 hours maybe. But you can go to the Buffini and Company website. You can check that out. And I promise you won't be disappointed. So if I can help you on your journey, please reach out. It's probably my most favorite thing to do. And I don't expect anything in return. I just want to help people. It's that Buffini helped me uncover what my natural gifts and abilities are. And that coach is the number one thing. And it's how do I help draw potential out of others that they didn't know was there. And it doesn't matter if you're an RE Solutions agent or not. I just want to be there for you. And so I hope that's a word of encouragement to invest in yourself, invest in personal development. I'm going to be sharing more things that I learned from the Jon Acuff event, because I thought it was remarkable. So John, thanks for being remarkable and putting together a remarkable event. Bill Hampton, thank you for everything that you did to help John put that event on, and everything you did yesterday. And it's pretty amazing, this journey that I've been on, and I'm very fortunate to be on it with some just incredible people. But it never would happen if I didn't go to in-person events. You all have a great day. Take care, and I'll talk to you next week.